Man, delivered as promised. Alex Primetime 99 motherfucking Stein. What's up, Big Don?
Man, Chingo Bling. I want some freaking red pill tamales. You know, I'm in Dallas, Texas. I know you're in H-Town. And as a fellow Texan, you know, I just want to say I think it's awesome. A lot of the work you're doing. I didn't just bring my knee pads. I don't just want to kiss your butt the whole time, but we've been trying to get this together for a while, and I'm happy we finally made it happen. So it's an honor to be here.
Dude, you go viral every week. You blowing up more and more that I was like, Rob, if we don't get Alex on now, he's going to forget about us. He's the big time Stein now.
No, wait, Chingo, dude, you've been dominating. You've been in this game, but when did you? And I have to ask you. I know I'm on your show, but when did you get red pilled? Because I know you've been a viral sensation since way before me. But if I remember, your content wasn't not even that you're super political, but I remember your content was pretty goofy. You know what I mean? It's just funny stuff. You know, kind of Mexican culture stuff. So when did you kind of get awake or red pilled?
Yeah, so I put out a variety of stuff. I mean, it was all over the place. Sometimes it'd be a parody. Sometimes it'd be something where I was like, borderline pandering, kind of like, hey, they can't deport us all. Like, you know, they love our tacos, they love our women, but they don't love us, fool. They don't want us here. And I was just a victim of a casualty of the information war. I was a combatant. Wow. I was a combatant in the information war. I didn't know no better. Bill O'Reilly wasn't getting through to me. You know, he wasn't that persuasive to me back in the day. But anyway, I would have to say it was probably like, dude, if I had to narrow down, let's just say 2020, 2020, where I just started seeing, for one, I started noticing how the media worked, how they were just like, okay, they're really influencing people. There's a lot of hoaxes and spin, and they were taking a lot of Trump stuff out of context. And I'll never forget, I can't remember the exact moment, but when I had that cognitive dissonance of like Neo in the Matrix of like, wait a minute, my whole, what's the word, man? Like my perception of things has just, and of course, I just turned 43. But today's my birthday. You know what I'm saying? Hey.
Oh, happy birthday. Wow, I'm honored to
what
be
a great present.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Thank you, bro.
You're a young man at 43, very young man. You got a lot left, especially you're Mexican, so you'll live till you're 95 years old, so you'll be good.
Hey, I hope so. But yeah, man, 2020 really did it. I was just seeing like the summer of love, the defund the police stuff, just the way Antifa was operating, the way the news was behaving, the lockdowns, you know, they started talking about forcing the jab, and that's really what did it. Because before that, I was kind of like, didn't really trust, like I like voted for Obama the first time and stuff like that, but I still wasn't all the way. I didn't have my pom-poms out for like every politician by no means. But yo, so man, big fan of your work. You do a variety of stuff, man. Like 1 minute I see you forcing AOC to admit that there's some footage and there's some things that there was not a real investigation for J6. There was just like a show trial without both parties, and you know, it was just like Liz Cheney having her TV show. There wasn't actually like who did the pipe bombs and things like that. And then the next minute, I'm hearing you on a rap song with Bryson Gray.
He's my buddy. He's my man.
Yeah, and it's like, bro, what the hell Alex can't do? So my question is this, dude, what's the first time that you decided to be disruptive and like, you know, I don't want to say it's like performance art or whatever, but like when you would go up to these hearings or these, like, I don't know what it was, school board, and you just start like going in that you're a trans swimmer or some shit.
Well, okay. Well, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about my story. And I signed an NDA, so I can only say so much, but I worked for the TV show Cheaters for over nearly 10 years. I started in college. We catch people cheating on their husbands and wives. And, you know, I moved up. I became a producer on that show, and I was doing well. And, you know, you only work, about 6 months of the year. So I was selling cars, too. I had my dealer's license. I was a wholesale car dealer. Just, chucking it, selling a lot of minivans to a lot of great Hispanic families. You know, here in Texas, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? A man of the people, selling Suburban, selling all kinds of cars to all kinds of race, colors, and creeds. I'm just saying, here in Texas, and that's why I love the Mexican culture. These are all these people, that say they're anti-immigration. I'm not even anti-immigration. I'm definitely anti-drug and sex trafficking, which is coming through the border, which is crazy. But people want to come to Texas and have a better life. We can handle it, but one busload of Hispanics, or I guess probably Guatemalans, go to New York City and they make it a federal disaster. So that shows you they're the real racists because they can't even ingratiate different people into their culture. But back to my point. So I worked at this TV show for a long time. Then my very good friend, who was the host, his name was Clark Gable. His grandfather was the Clark Gable from the movie Gone with the Wind, a famous Hollywood actor. Well, my buddy was great. He was a good guy, he's a nice guy, but he had a little bit of a pill problem. He always had like doctors in California to give him pills. He took Xanax, he drank, and this and that. So we're done filming season 17, and the show ends. And he's in Dallas, and I'm kind of mad at him because he was taking a lot of pills at the time. He ran out. He was getting prescribed pills. He ran out and went and bought some pressed pills. He thought it was like oxycodone or hydrocodone or something. Valium, who knows, maybe Xanax. And it had fentanyl in it. Oh. And he overdosed and died. And it really changed my life. I quit drinking. I quit, doing, any sort of drugs. I got totally sober. Didn't go to AA or anything. I just was like, man, I was so depressed. I was drinking a lot right after it happened. And then I got so depressed. I was like, man, I got to quit drinking. I got to get in shape, get my life back together. And then once that started to happen, then the owner of the show, a guy named Bobby Goldstein, said, Alex, you're going to be the next host. And I'm like a 30-ish-year-old white guy. He's like a 30-year-old white guy. It kind of makes sense. I know the show backwards and forwards. And then April of 2020, when it came time for us to start shooting, they picked a guy named Peter Guns. He's like a 52-year-old DJ, black dude from New York. He's a great guy, nice guy. I got no beef with him. But kind of the show's distributed by Viacom, so they went with an affirmative action pick. They even made him change his name from Peter Guns to Peter Panky because they didn't want guns in his name. So that shows you kind of how corporate the show got.
Wow.
And I lost it. I was really upset. They wanted me to keep working, and I said, F this. And so that's when I created my podcast. And you were talking earlier about Neo breaking out of the Matrix. We live in a world of lies, and I knew all that through the past few years. I'm an Alex Jones info warrior, tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, proud tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist. And I've been awake to a lot of the stuff, 9/11, the moon landing is one of my favorite conspiracies. But just knowing that the government lies, I've been awake to that for a while. But the pandemic is when I started my podcast, The Conspiracy Castle. I started to get some followers, a few thousand, not nothing too crazy. But I started to go to city council meetings on totally, earnestly, just being like, you close the public restrooms and then put porta potty at the Bachman Lake where I walk my dogs. You turn off the water fountains. And this is April in Texas. It's 100 degrees out there. And I'm like, why? How is this based in science? They looked at me like I was an idiot. They disregarded me. And then in that same meeting, I would see other people talk about how their house caught on fire because their neighbor's house caught on fire and the fire department didn't put it out fast enough. And they lost their kids, their cat died. I mean, just some sad stories. And these politicians just on their phone, swiping left, looking at Facebook. And so I realized, man, these politicians don't care about us. I waited a month. The next meeting, I said, you know what, Mayor Eric Johnson, he's the mayor of Dallas and a nice black guy. And I go, you know what, Mayor Johnson, you'd be really good if you put a vaccine clinic in the gayborhood and call it Eric Johnson's Free Johnson & Johnson. The gay community would love the double entendre. And since you're the first openly gay mayor of Dallas, it would be a huge hit. He's not openly gay. He's married with kids, and he got pissed. He was visibly upset. And that's when I realized, I was like, oh, wait, I got to make fun of these politicians. And then from then on, I really started doing what is called culture jamming, and that's why I'm here on the show with you today.
And dude, you do a really good job of just having the balls to really fuck with people. You know what I mean? Because like, like when I was in costume, I'll say costume, right? Only because like my whole everything was hidden. Like I had my cowboy hat, I had the grill. I felt like I could kind of hide a little bit behind it. And especially in the beginning, like when I first started, people didn't know if I was serious. Was I not serious? Like, where's this dude from? Like, where'd he get this bling? Whatever. And especially like the first time I would meet like radio DJs or something, like I'd go all in character, just fucking with them, like accent, everything, just on air, just fucking with them, like saying goofy stuff. But dude, you're going up there like now I'm 43. Now I'm like, bro, I got it, it's like I got some shame now. Now it's kind of like, hey man,
No.
But dude, you're like really good at like pushing people's buttons, and I don't know if it's like the satire part, but it really does help expose the absurdity of how these hearings happen, how the politicians don't care, how the people really aren't heard. And then you come in and culture jam them, and it exposes, what do you think, Rob? Like the value of...
Oh, dude, 100%. Alex, so producer Rob here in the background. I don't have a camera on me, but yeah, man, I just got to ask, who's your inspiration for this kind of art?
Well, 100%. It's Andy Kaufman and also Sacha Baron Cohen. Now, I don't like Sacha Baron Cohen's politics, but he talks about exactly like you would do, Chingo. When you are a real actor, I'm not saying I'm, Leonardo DiCaprio, but when you're in character, it's almost sometimes easier to stay in character, like the methodology of it. You're just being method. You want to stay in it. You don't want to break character. And that's what I do. For you, you would be, crazier with like the roach killer boots and and all the gear and, to kind of, like you said, you would hide behind, but really you weren't hiding. You're yourself. You're on the microphone, but you're playing a character. I'm just basically not wearing that stuff, and I'm playing an exaggerated version of myself. Primetime 99 Alex Stein, or I'm playing, the guy that's the total cuck, or my wife's boyfriend got her pregnant. And the reason is because we live in a society where we're, feminizing men and masculinizing women. So like Sacha Baron Cohen, I love all of his stuff. Ali G, Borat. That's some of the best, comedy, in my opinion, out there. I know you're a stand-up comedy, and I do stand-up comedy, but that's not my favorite form. I love the live audience, but I like the Andy Kaufman aspect where sometimes the people don't get the joke. More than anything, I love it when I go into a meeting and they think I'm serious. And then I leave the meeting and I'm dying laughing. The only difference is stand-up comedy, they're kind of like, make me laugh, make me laugh. I'd rather like give the people what they don't want. I want to be the villain, the wrestling villain. And that's what Andy Kaufman did when he became the intergender wrestling champion of the world. And he was actually ahead of his time, thinking about, hey, listen, if men and women want to compete, they should have their own intergender division. And now we live in a day and age where they let Leah Thomas, who swam on the men's team for 3 years, compete against the women when we clearly need an intergender. If we're going to have trans competitors, then have your own division. So I think he was really cutting edge in what he was doing, exposing the hypocrisy of the feminist movement back then. And now we've totally let it take over where men with penises are literally competing against women and changing in the same locker room as them to boot.
Insane. One thing that came to light during the AOC incident was I forget who it was. Jack Posobiec, I believe, is the one who like took the still shot of whoever was in AOC's crew, and I think it was like her ginger boyfriend, right? And he like circled the guy's face and then showed, hey, this is the guy that's always in his goddamn flip-flop chanclas, the sandals, when they're out having brunch some goddamn where with the Tesla. And basically the point was, she's up there making a big deal because, you pushed her buttons or whatever. And it's like the boyfriend didn't do nothing. He didn't say nothing. And it's just like a blaring example of like hella lefty, like just this leftist chick. And that's what you get if you want to be a commie. That's going to be your commie boyfriend. That's your socialist, soy eating, you will own nothing to be happy commie boyfriend.
Alex is definitely the heel. You're definitely the heel of wrestling. I love that you use that phrase. And for listeners that don't know who Andy Kaufman is, direct them in the best direction to find out who he is.
Oh, you guys got to see Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey. Everybody needs to see that movie immediately. It's one of the best movies, and it's basically, a docudrama about Andy Kaufman's life and how he died, too young. And he had a beef where, he got famous. He was on Saturday Night Live, and he'd play these crazy characters. And he would do stuff like, my favorite form of comedy is mixing absurdity with reality. And that's what Andy Kaufman would do. He would do it in all kinds of ways where he, had the wrestling heel where he got slapped by Jerry the King Lawler, and people thought it was real. And he would do stuff where he'd go on stage at a comedy show and he would just eat ice cream instead of doing comedy, do ice cream to piss off the audience. He would do stuff where he'd have somebody come from the audience and hit him and get in a fight, but the person was a plant. Now people have ripped that off and done that a million times, but he was very cutting edge when he did that. But back to I just want to say this about the AOC thing. The reason why she got so mad is he totally got cucked. I mean, he's walking right there and I say, oh, you're my favorite big booty Latina. And here in Texas, that's a compliment. That's not even really that bad of a statement. I mean, if you say that to a nice lady, she says, thank you here in Texas. But of course, AOC, this is the problem with the lefty mentality is they have this victimhood mentality where they constantly have to be a victim. Yet she is one of the most powerful women of Congress, got elected at 29 years old, is now a multimillionaire. And when she sees people that are tweeting pictures of her fiance's foot, she says, oh, well, the right doesn't like me. They just want to date me. So listen, this wasn't just some, flash in the pan thing. I had this calculated, I'm going to sexualize her. I'm going to hit on her in order to show her that here's some concrete evidence of somebody actually sexualizing you in order to get a response. Now, I had no idea she's going to go on and make 10 Instagram stories, a famous one where she's in reverse selfie and I'm waving. Yeah. And then you mentioned this earlier. She went in for 3 hours and voted in Congress and came out and said the Capitol Police let in rioters on J6.
Wow.
So go figure. Like she throws people under the bus. Well, and that's what we have to do is we have to take these people. It's like Tom Brady when he's like trying to make the team go off sides. Hut, hut, hut. You have to kind of fake them out in order to draw them off sides. And for me, these politicians, they've always been NPCs, non-playable characters in the video game of life. And the only way to make them playable is to draw them off sides.
And boy, did that dude get cucked out for sure.
Dude, Alex, how do
Big
you?
time.
So what made you this self-proclaimed conspiracy loyalist and Alex Jones warrior? Because Chingo wasn't too familiar with Alex Jones up until just a couple of years ago.
No, I knew I was familiar.
But you weren't like an InfoWars.
Motherfucker, just because you don't know who Andy Kaufman is.
I said it for the listeners' sake, not my sake.
No.
Yeah.
That's a good point because I was listening to Alex Jones before I even really believed his conspiracies back because the mainstream would have him on and he was always talking about the globalists and I didn't understand that. Like, this is the problem and this is like the basic root of it. We can talk about all the crazy conspiracy theorists like 9/11, the moon landing, but this is what is not a conspiracy and this is what he opened my eyes to is our country is not being run by human beings. It's run by multinational corporations. These corporations like Halliburton, Apple, what they do is they pay these politicians through political action committees and they're the ones that get legislation done. They're the ones that are able to have, pay zero in taxes. These are the ones that are actually controlling America. And what they're doing is they actually want to destabilize America. A perfect example is why do they outsource so many jobs to India? Why do they outsource these jobs? You look at the Apple iPhone is made in China at the Foxconn studios. And Alex Jones is one of the first persons to expose this. At the Foxconn factory, in China, they have suicide nets because so many employees are jumping off the roof. So if these companies really cared about their employees, pay them a little more. But instead they say, oh, we're going to build bigger nets. So once you realize that it's not human beings calling the shots and these politicians that are basically getting elected because they have the most money, it's a rigged game. The game is rigged against the American people. And Alex Jones was one of the first people that was ringing the alarm on the destabilization of the middle class. And that's what we're having right now. I mean, they're making it so impossible for a single family to even buy a house. You look at BlackRock, you look at these corporations, you look at Bill Gates as the single largest landholder, and he's not even, for climate change, he's not even going to grow a farm on it. You look at China as the largest foreign landholder. So, and then you have these American corporations that are buying these properties. So it's almost impossible for a person coming out of college working an introductory job to even buy a house. And that's not the American dream. The American dream is a white picket fence, the family, the house. And that's the one thing none of us can get. So they literally want you to own nothing, like Klaus Schwab says in the World Economic Forum, and they want you to own nothing and eat bugs and be happy while you do it. And that's why there's obviously a million conspiracies that aren't necessarily true. Like, the QAnon people say JFK Jr. is coming back. That's fake. There's all this dumb stuff. But then on top of that, there is real stuff like Jeffrey Epstein flying with Bill Clinton 26 times on the Lolita Express with no Secret Service. You look at Hillary Clinton deleting emails. There are real conspiracies and they mix them with fake ones in order to demonize people like you or me that are looking into the official story to be able to, lump us in a box. Oh, that's a stupid conspiracy theorist. When in reality, there's a lot of conspiracies that are true and there's a lot of conspiracies that are total crap.
Yeah, they mix them up to throw them off the trail. It reminds me of an elaborate Scooby-Doo episode.
Kinda.
This whole regime is just Scooby-Doo, where we're gonna lift the thing, and it's like, oh my God, it's Bill Gates and the CCP. You know what I mean? But yeah, man.
To your point, I think everybody knows Joe Biden he's the president, but it's Obama calling the shots. No, everybody, even the people on the left will admit Joe Biden isn't doing anything. He's having other people do it for him. So it is a Scooby-Doo episode. We need to lift, Joe Biden's mask, and then it's going to be Barack Obama and an earpiece, probably.
Hey,
exactly. Yeah.
Dude, before we let you go, I got to ask about Barstool. Last night, our private Discord was going crazy with screenshots from the tweets and the things that were going on Twitter. So can you elaborate on what happened last night?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, let's get into this. And I'd like to see if this happened to you. So I had long story short, during the Super Bowl, the Cincinnati Bengals made it to the Super Bowl. I called into their city council meeting and I said this crazy story about how my wife left me and I was broke, but I've been gambling all my money on the Cincinnati Bengals and they've been winning all these underdog things. And now I'm dominating and this is so good. They're going to win the Super Bowl. All my money, I was in a good mood, trying to, have goodwill. But I'm talking about how I'm a degenerate gambler and how I had nothing and now I finally have something. Barstool Sports shared it. It gets 1 million views within a few hours, almost 1 million. I think it's 700,000. It would have got easily over 1 million. Then they delete it. And I don't say anything. I send a message to my mutual friend that works there. And he's like, oh, yeah, they don't want to, advertise degenerate gambling. And I'm like, okay, that's sure. And this is after I've gone viral. I've had a few viral videos and stuff. And so, they know I'm like a political commentator, and I'm working for the Blaze. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just believe that, because they do own a gambling company. They don't want to, promote degenerate, whatever. They don't want to seem like a degenerate gambler. I'm like, okay. Then they share my video of me going to Las Vegas, this viral video that Chad Johnson, all these people tweeted, where I'm like, oh yeah, I got drunk and I lost money and I slept with a transgender prostitute. And they post it, and then like an hour later they delete it. And I just said, you know what? This is Barstool being, they're being cuckservative, or they're being cucks. They're sharing my content, not even giving me credit, which I don't care. I consider my content public domain. But my point being, it's like, they share it and then they delete it. So then I share the tweet basically saying, it's a joke that Barstool Sports, will delete my content while their president is, accused of some of the most heinous acts possible. And I definitely emphasized the accused. I wasn't even trying to bring up what Dave Portnoy was accused of. I was really basically trying to make it a point of like, there's a lot of false accusations. People call me some right-wing guy. And really, I'm not even that conservative. I consider myself a populist. I'm more in the middle. I care more about like what is best for everybody. And that's, kind of I think there should be some form of socialized medicine. I think it's ridiculous that insulin costs $200 in Texas and $2 in Mexico. So my point being is, I'm not even some like alt-right conservative, but that's what they call me because they want to label me.
Same here,
so
my brother.
And I was trying to ingratiate myself with Dave Portnoy. I was like, oh, he's accused of the most heinous stuff, but you delete my content? He took it the wrong way. He said that he hates me and he's going to cheer for my demise. And then he said, he just went on a rant about me. And luckily, everybody on Twitter had my back. They went after him. He got ratioed. And as he got ratioed, he started doubling down. He started getting crazier and crazier. And what I'm guessing, I don't know this, but I'm thinking that he was probably drunk, because some of the tweets, him and I are in the DMs. He invites me on his podcast. And then about 45 minutes later, he de-invites you. He says, oh, I'm not going to have you on. And then we're arguing in the thing. I'm like, is it because you got humiliated? He's like, man, I'm going to sleep gently on my $500 million. And then he tweets our DM. He puts it out like, oh, I owned him by saying I have $500 million. Yet people in America are struggling right now. And he got $500 million by selling his company to a gambling website that literally preys on people that have an addiction to gambling. And on top of that, he invested millions in a coin that lost people millions of dollars, and he's actually being sued for it. So do what you want. I'm not the, I'm not the moral police. I'm not the morale police. He can do whatever he wants, because I'm not some, saint myself. But for him to act like, I'm better than you because I have $500 million, when nobody has $500 million, it just made him look like an elitist asshole and not a man of the people, which is what Barstool Sports tries to portray. They try to portray, young, hip, man of the people, and it showed his true colors, and he got exposed for, glamorizing his wealth and being better than everybody because he has money, and nobody likes this, some rich asshole.
Bro, Alex Stein, you're like it's like if you have a petri dish of some sort and you drop that one little catalyst, like this chemical that, you know what I'm saying? Because Dave Portnoy, he's Mr. like, I'm going to show you this pizza, the crust is good. Like, I'm a man of the people. Barstool. What? Barstool, bro. Barstool what? What? You mad because I bang chicks, bro? You're mad, bro, because I like pizza and I just sit on a Barstool and I bang chicks, bro, and I like sports, bro? And then all of a sudden it's like, you drop that Alex Stein in there, and all of a sudden it's like disingenuousness oozes, and now he's getting ratioed, and now he's looking like this elitist.
Bravo, Alex Stein. Bravo.
What's that? What's the chemical? What is that?
It's like a pool cleaner. I don't know what it is. It is a catalyst, or it'll get rid of the algae. But listen, and Dave Portnoy, he did some good stuff. He had the restaurant fund, even though they were able to use that as a tax write-off. But let's not even get into that. But this is the thing, and where I lost respect for Dave Portnoy, and he even admitted this. He's like, all you Republicans were sucking my D when I was on Tucker, and now you're all in my mentions. Like, he was calling himself out. But this is the thing. I get it. You're a young man. There's probably I was never pro-choice. I was never really in favor of abortion because my parents weren't married when they had me. They were just dating, and they decided to have me. And they talked about potentially getting an abortion. My mom thought about it, and they didn't get one. So for me, I've always been anti-abortion. But I get why somebody you don't have the means to raise a kid. I get why somebody would be into abortion now. So I'm not saying I support that whatsoever. But Dave Portnoy is like a multi-millionaire, and he recently went on a rant talking about how he's so pro-abortion. Yet That doesn't make sense unless he's had a bunch of abortions himself. So that's where I really lost respect for me is I'm anti-abortion, and I don't hate. If somebody's getting an abortion, I don't hate you. That's the other thing is I don't want to have hate in my heart. Even if you have a different opinion than me, and even if you have totally different ideals than me, I don't want to hate you. But Portnoy is the exact opposite. Because I'm anti-abortion, he called me scum. Literally, for calling out abortion protesters, he called me scum. So he can't even see that, I have a point for being anti-abortion, but I can see their point. I can see why you might want to have one. I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to call you names or call you scum. So he got exposed on multi-levels for the abortion thing. He got called out for being, a fake conservative, LARPing as a conservative, and he got called out for being an elitist. And it's not done. So I have a friend I talked about that I knew from college. He works there, and he had interviewed him on his podcast today, talking about me all day on his podcast. So this is just chapter 1 of the Prez versus Primetime documentary or biography, because it sounds like he's going to talk about me, then I'm going to talk about him. And I'm going to New York. I go to New York almost once a month, so I'm going to be at headquarters with my selfie stick and a crew of people raising hell in NYC.
Dude, bravo, dude. Hey, real quick, also, what are you doing with the Blaze? We're curious.
Okay, well, I'm going to have, right now I'm just a contributor, but I got a show, the Primetime 99 Alex Stein Show. It's Primetime with Alex Stein. It's coming out. But they're building my set now, but it's supposed to come out at the end of September, but hopefully the set's done. But regardless, if we don't start by the end of September, it'll be the beginning of October. And dude, I want you to come down. I'm going to have you in studio. I'll pay for your hotel. I'll take care of you. Because I definitely want you to come in, because this is what I want to have, is I want to have a show that's a comedy show. I'm sick of these political shows. It's all political, politics. No, we need to be funny. And part of the show is I wanted to have the Sacha Baron Cohen aspect where, I interview you, but during the day, we might go do something funny. We might go to a restaurant. We might go somewhere and troll. So do something lighthearted. And like Chingo Bling, where you would be the butt of the joke. You would be self-deprecating. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to be too. People are like, oh, Alex, you're a mean troll. I really don't try to be mean, unless there's these super elitists, these politicians that, don't care about us. Maybe I'll be a little mean to them. And even so, with AOC, I said, you're a big booty Latina. I was nice to her, and she lost it. But my point being is, as a comedian, you realize that sometimes you have to make yourself the joke to make other people feel comfortable. So that's why I want to have a show that has other comedians like yourself, where we can go do the culture jamming on the street or whatever it is, and then we'll come in the studio and talk about it that night in front of a live audience. So I'm really excited for the opportunity the Blaze has given me.
Oh yeah, let's see if the Blaze got some room for some Mexicans. What's up, Blaze?
I will. Chingo, come on the show. They need it. And that's the other thing is, in the conservative movement, I'm not saying you don't be a fake conservative, because really we should be anti-establishment. But listen, you saw Mayra Flores just get elected in South Texas. Like, we need more Mexicans to build up the culture of conservatism. And I think they are. I think you'd say a lot of conservatives are anti-abortion. I mean, a lot of Hispanics are anti-abortion. Mexicans don't want to have abortions. And that's how we win this culture war, because this is the other thing. Dude, I went to school here in Dallas, and they would tell us this wasn't some right-wing conspiracy. They would say, by about 2040, Hispanics will outnumber Caucasians in Texas. And that wasn't some right-wing crazy conspiracy. That was just because they have more babies, and, there's immigrants coming in, and, white people. It's like the movie Idiocracy or whatever. White people aren't having as many babies. That wasn't some right-wing conspiracy. Now they demonize it in the news. Oh, it's a great replacement theory, which is a lie. We've been talking about this forever, and that's just that's just the way things are going. So what I'm trying to say is we better start respecting, the Hispanic culture and Mexicans, because they're going to be the majority very soon. So, that's just the reality of things. That's not a bad thing. That's not some right-wing conspiracy. That's just the realistic nature of what Texas is going to be very soon, if it's not that way already.
And that's why we have to drop a track called Big Booty Latina. You're my favorite.
Can you imagine Chingo Bling featuring Alex Stein?
Please, I'm ready. I'll come down to Houston. I'll come down and we'll drop it whenever you're ready. I want it. Big Booty Latina. Like, I want to eat you up like some vanilla ice cream. Dude, we'll go insane for the Ukraine.
Girl, you're looking like Selena.
Oh. That's what I'm talking about. Big Booty Latina. You remind me of my favorite one, Selena. That would be great.
Yeah, write it down.
What did he say? Okay, eat you like a bowl of ice cream.
I love it.
You're spicy like a jalapeno. My favorite Big Booty Latina. Yeah. No, we'll go insane. And I'm happy we got to do this. And we're going to do it again. And I'm telling you, you're coming on my Blaze show. And we need to go. I need to come down to Houston. We need to go after Lena Hidalgo, go to one of her commissioner course meeting. You need to dust off the Chingo Bling outfit.
Oh, let's do it.
I'll be there. Do it. That would be epic. That would go viral, too.
Maybe you could be like, we're part of a duet rap group. And, recently our studio... our studio shut down and we, the funds to record our album, just something. And I'll just be like,
we
your
have
hype
to use
man.
their microphone.
And yeah. So we're going to record our shit and I'll be in the background like, yeah, I'm his
That'd
hype
be
man.
hilarious.
Hell yeah, bro.
I'm ready when you are. You just tell me when.
Absolutely, brother. Yeah, we're going to line it up. And man, dude, it's like every week is a new chapter in the Alex Stein versus the world, bro.
Yeah, where can everybody keep up with Alex versus the world? Where are you on social and all your website, podcasts, everything?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, Alex Stein 99 on Twitter, Primetime Stein on Instagram. It's Alex Stein on YouTube. And, I'm all over. It's alexstein99.live is my website. But guys, if you can't find me, you're not looking. I'm all over the internet. And I'm really freaking out because I just saw you have that Halal Guys cup. This is my one thing that I am soy bored. I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat. So I eat the falafel at Halal Guys like every other day. So you eat a Halal Guy? I love that place. I eat there too much.
Yeah,
it makes me fat.
Yeah, their falafel
makes me so fat.
Have you had their fries?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Their fries with that ranch dressing is insane.
Yeah, for sure. I saw one guy who came in after us, big boy. He's a larger gentleman. His halal combo plate, it looked like white soup. It was like he ordered the Mediterranean bukkake plate. It was like straight crema. It was like nothing but sauce, bro. 10,000 calories. Hey, man, thank you so much for your time, brother. Keep killing it. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, we're good. We're good. Sorry. No, we're good. I thought it froze. No, we're good. Yeah, man. We appreciate your time and thanks for replying to the emails. You've been the literally most highest requested guest on the podcast.
Wow. Okay. Well, I need to jump on y'all's Discord and join it. And I'm telling you, dude, we're gonna do this again. We're gonna talk soon, and we got to collaborate in person. Now that we broke the seal, now we got to pop the champagne. So we're gonna have
absolutely fun. For sure, brother. Hey, Godspeed, my brother.
Take care, brother.
Same to you. See you guys. See you, Rob. Thanks, Chingo. Bye.
Wow.
That dude's epic, bro.
Yeah, should we restart the video and do the second half?
Sure.
All right.
Big booty Latina, wanna eat you up like a bowl of ice cream. Big booty Latina, jalapeno. Okay, that was a little, we trying.
The gears are turning.
We trying, bro. But yo, Alex Stein, Primetime 99, bro. Like, how crazy is it that in this world of lies, in this matrix, right, in this universe full of NPCs and everything else, that somebody can just come in with the perfect, it's almost like the perfect, I keep using the chemistry thing because it just makes everything go haywire. It makes AOC come out of her voting thing, or Dave Portnoy just start sharing screenshots of a DM, 500 million. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like this perfect recipe of pushing people's buttons. And like in this big NPC matrix world, how you can atinarle, pero exactamente. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, holy shit, bro. You're not just getting under the skin of these politicians at these hearings or whatever those things are, school board, whatever the city council thing. And then also you got one of these Congress people, one of the most famous, influential congresswomen, got her coming out of voting saying, hey, man, who let them people in?
Yeah.
They got some insiders, and we don't really know who let them people in.
You know how people say, like, they got it, or someone has the it factor? That motherfucker has the it factor. He's going to be such a big star. And what was so aggravating, so we wrapped up talking about the Barstool stuff. He took a screenshot of Anomaly's tweet to him because, I mean, when Alex said he was getting ratioed, he was getting ratioed from people like Anomaly to...
Wait, Dave Portnoy got ratioed.
Right, yeah. Going after Alex after, they had a couple of exchanges with, and again, Portnoy was the one that posted the screenshot, which was all just in bad taste, all just bad, just missed the mark on everything last night. You know what I mean? Like, and he's usually like, he's the Mr. I win the internet when it comes to exchanges like that. He just got dominated. But my point of that was that, I don't know why I brought it up. I lost my train of thought. He was going back and forth. Alex was going in on him.
You said it factor.
The it factor. Well, I don't know what it was. Point is, he has the it factor because he was posting things like, "Oh, this is your crowd." That was what I was gonna say. When he posted the screenshot of Anomaly, like, "Oh, this is this guy's crowd." Basically he's nobody. Like this.
So what did Anomaly say?
He was he basically just kind of called it out like, "This isn't looking good for you. This doesn't look good on your end, Portnoy," or something like that. And then Portnoy screenshot that and tagged Alex and said, "Oh, this is Alex Primestein audience. No wonder, or it all makes sense or something."
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's coming across real douchey, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Because it all started because they posted Barstool posted a bunch of Alex's stuff and then they deleted right away.
Yeah.
And just being hypocritical, like, well, your boy getting accused of all this stuff and y'all trying to be the morality police. It's like you sold your company to a gambling thing.
Yeah.
That preys on people who might be addicted to gambling.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, just the perfect recipe, the perfect sauce to just come into a situation, aggravate, agitate, and just it has all the ingredients. It's like his style of humor sets everything up. It's so impressive, bro, because we know some funny people.
For sure.
You know, we know some funny people, but goddamn, bro, to be going viral every week, you know what I mean? Where it's everybody from Dave Portnoy to AOC to just on. And like I told him in the interview, like, bro, I just finished hearing you rap with Bryson Gray, and now you over here. And next thing you know, you a trans swimmer at a thing, at a school complaining. Then you're in character over here.
His energy, man. His energy is so high. Like, what I wanted to be like, what are you on, sir? Because you are, I mean, he just did, I think he did 1 or 2 Blaze shows before he hopped on with us. He explained the whole, you know, his show on Blaze coming out in September, October.
Man, they need us over there. What's up, Blaze? Holla at your boy.
Dude, I mean, I've been saying that for a hot ass minute. Like, there's, other than, I believe Jason Whitlock, obviously, and there's like not a lot of brown and black people on
Hey,
Blaze.
man, you trying to get identity politics on
I
us?
mean, it is what it is. He even said it himself. The Mexican culture's got to be respected. I need you to respect me.
Hey, you sounding like American Cholo, bro. Hey, man, you gonna give us something, and you gonna stop disrespecting
If
us.
that's what else is gonna listen to, right?
I guess y'all gonna have to take down y'all's episode. Dave Portnoy, if you don't delete your Twitter right now, bro.
It was funny because he mentioned how he turned into like a total soy boy because he had Andrew Tate on. Portnoy did, right?
Oh.
Did you see that clip that started to go semi-viral? Andrew Tate was doing what Andrew Tate does. Again, you don't have to agree with everything the guy says, but Portnoy all of a sudden was like, well, how are you going to say that about women and blah, blah, blah. It just turned into this like, wait a minute, you're the fratastic pizza guy who's talking about, why are you talking down on women like that?
Hold on, who said he was fratastic?
I did. I'm saying he's the fucking fratastic pizza boy. Like, what the fuck's going on?
That's a hard ass word, bro. Fratastic. I was in that bitch looking fratastic.
I knew so many of those dudes in the little stint in college. You're like, you're just looking super fratastic.
Dude, they invited me into a frat because
Did you pledge? Did you do all that whole thing or no?
No, I was actually in the business fraternity, which wasn't like your traditional social fraternity where you were doing lit stuff and having to be drinking and shit. I was DJing all the frat parties, but I think they wanted me in that frat because they were like, dude, you DJ already. You got the equipment. Like, you the man on the DJ shit. Like, you might as well rock with us, be down with us. And I was looking at it like, well, y'all just gonna want me to be exclusive to y'all shit, and I'm only gonna DJ y'all shit, and I gotta turn down all these other sororities and fraternities.
Right. Fuck no.
But in hindsight, it's like, man, you probably could have made some friends, bro. You assuming that's why they want.
So in your business frat, you were just the only lit you were doing was literature?
That shit was, bro. That was like, I don't want to say nothing like, oh, it was just for my resume. But listen, but yeah, anyway, it's almost like that might have been an insecurity where I'm like, do you really just want me to join your frat? Because I don't feel like I fit in because I'm from a blue city and the public schools told me that white people don't really like my people. And there's got to be an ulterior motive. But anyway.
The victim sunglasses.
So Dave Portnoy exposed himself. And it's funny how Alex Stein brought that out of him. It's like somebody who has $500 million, always wins the internet, has a company, successful, fratastic, and all of a sudden you hot under the collar, you just screenshotting people like, oh, this who rocking with you, this guy, this your boy at Dream Rare, this who you. And it's like,
yeah,
hey man, you're losing right now.
Yeah,
dog,
you're supposed to be man of the people over here.
It's almost like Alex Stein has that special power when you come at situations, not taking yourself serious, and the other person is disingenuous or high and mighty. They get caught in that thing of like the way Portnoy was being with Tate, like, oh, Mr. All of a sudden you for women's rights,
yeah,
face ass.
Yeah, all of a sudden like he's not who everybody knows that he is, right? Like if you know what's his handle, Stool Presidente, you know who Stool Presidente is. Despite his charitable acts, you know who he is.
Abortion Presidente.
Exactly, and it was funny how Alex used the word. I've never heard someone say "conservative." That was hilarious.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yup.
Shout out to Alex, man. I can't wait to see you on the Blaze doing something with him and collaborating.
For sure. And when he said he was populist, I'm like, oh my God, bro.
I know, right?
Well, I was like, I'm populist too, bro.
I guess we don't.
Even though
use
I'm not
that.
an expert on it, but shit.
But we don't use that word enough, I feel like. I don't even feel like we use the word nationalist enough because it also kind of has that has more of a bad connotation than populist.
They gave it.
They did. And by they, we mean the left.
But you could be both.
For sure.
You could be economic populist, economic national. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they demonized that word. And I think it's Hungary, if I'm not mistaken. somebody fact check me. I know somebody in the Discord. We got the smartest audience. Either it's Hungary or it's like Poland. Some one of those countries where they're arguably like nationalists, and they're just like, no, bitch, there's two genders, motherfucker. And they're just like, no, we're gonna have strong borders. And anytime the rest of Europe tries to be like, you guys are like the Trumpers of the EU, and they'll be like, bitch, how many of our people done went to the UK and stabbed people to death? How many of our people then went to Germany and blew themselves up? None. Okay then. So you're looking at the wrong people.
And there's a video, I would play it, but I'm not going to do it on this YouTube video because it'll get taken down. But Bill Maher, when Steve Bannon was on Bill Maher back probably 2-3 years ago, there's a clip in there in the middle where he's talking about how, you know, Bannon was like the brains of the operation, and he's the one that taught Trump these terms like nationalist and populist, and, you know, to talk to the people that essentially weren't being spoken to at the time, right? But again, in his smug kind of Bill Maher way, it made it seem like that was a bad thing for Trump to have done.
Yeah, and it's almost like, well, there's a lot of populists on the left too.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean. But yeah, they definitely smeared doo-doo on the word nationalist, because they just turned it into so that the normie, when they hear nationalist, they could be like, oh, those are the racist ones, right? Those are like the Bible thumping, alt-right, super far right, QAnon, white national. That's why they would always say that, white nationalist. It's like, why y'all specifying that you're for your country first and you're not a globalist? It's unfortunate, but hey, you know, that's what happens when you just follow Fools Gone Wild and you don't follow what we got going on.
So we recorded these in reverse, guys, just to be able to do it for Alex's schedule. We haven't talked, this is the public episode. Everybody gets Wednesday's episode. If you don't subscribe, you don't get Thursday, Friday, the new Monday hangouts. Well, we're going to work out a schedule for that. But have we talked about Fauci? We haven't, right? I mean, his retirement. No. Can I get your take on, because there's so many theories going out there, because he's not retiring. He's just stepping down as director of the NIH and the NIAD, whatever.
NAI. And I'm going to P.
Yeah, exactly.
LGBTQ.
Yeah, LGB, brown, trans, TQ.
Yeah. Plus sign.
MAP.
Oh, they done threw the maps in there, boy. Oh
no, they're gonna cancel us. What are they gonna do?
Why y'all gonna throw the maps in there? Oh my God, why is that even a fucking term? Anyway, go on.
So is this guy is next? Because he said the term on to my next chapter of my career.
Yeah, career.
The guy's 90 years old, right? He's 100 years old.
He's gonna have to go somewhere to avoid subpoenas. He's gonna have to go. He's gonna have to go somewhere. We're talking about the Keebler elf, Fauci. He's gonna have to go somewhere where he can avoid Rand Paul smoking him out his cave.
Well, all of them. If they take the House back, they take the Senate back.
MTG done already said, like, my constituents, like the American people, want to know how much tax money did y'all use on that gain of function, and so on.
And that is the main theory, right? So Game of Thrones, I mentioned this on Thursday's episode. The Game of Thrones show House of Dragons came out, and then Game of Thrones being one of the most probably popular HBO series to ever be created. It's a masterpiece up until the last 2 seasons. You know, don't at me, but it's true. It's a political thriller. It's what it is. It's a political thriller. So right now, in order for him to avoid a lot of these things that are going to be coming up, because let's be real, Fauci, the red wave's coming. Some sort of, even if it's a red thunderstorm or red sprinkle, it's happening. They're going to take back the House, maybe even the Senate, whatever. So it's just a political thriller about how do I avoid what's coming inevitably. I'm sure they'll still go after him after he's removed himself from this seat, this chair or whatever. But it's gonna be like look over here, not over there. So now that we're not gonna be looking at the NIAD and everything else, NIH, who knows what's gonna happen? But I guess we could at least say there's gonna be something that's gonna happen. There's gonna be some kind of due process, right, for Fauci? Would you agree? You think so?
Man, it depends if these people want to be conservatives or not, right? Because I wouldn't hold my breath. Because let's not forget. Well, hold on. Whatever happened to the people who put together this Russia collusion hoax? Nothing. What happened to this Hunter Biden thing and all, the laptop, and all these people who still won't look at it, still won't address it, and all the people that signed their names talking about we're intelligence people and we don't think it's Russian. That way Biden could go on the campaign trail and be like, no one is saying that. No one who said you saying who's saying didn't nobody say that, just so they could disimular, right? So I wouldn't get my hopes up, bro. These people, I mean, I don't want to get all tinfoil deep state on you and shit, but what happened to Ghislaine's client list? Epstein's client list? You know what I mean? Like, so y'all allow the feds to run up in Trompita's spot, you know what I'm saying, making his block hot. Y'all over there at Mar-a-Lago. I ain't seen nobody running up looking for all the other shit that's going on. Like,
you read
Hillary shit, Obama shit.
You read a headline just before we hit record, actually. You probably don't still have it up, do you? But ABC was talking about, how do they phrase it? Like Trump, breaking news. Like,
oh yeah. It was they were saying when Trump went on offense and he's countering with some in a legal manner, basically saying you're violating my Fourth Amendment, unlawful search and seizure, so on and so forth. The way the mainstream media is going to present it to the normies just to keep them in the dark and keep Trump as Darth Vader, the bad guy. Basically, they're saying Trump's a legal meltdown, just so
that's what it was. Yeah,
they can use words, and we're going to bring a talking head on here to analyze him from afar.
And they said he had hundreds of pages of classified documents. Right, that was in the subheadline or in the headline.
Yeah, nuclear.
What big pharma board does he sit on next? Fauci.
Yeah, he's probably gonna figure out how to make big pharma more money.
But I'm saying you want to take a guess. I'm gonna just guess Pfizer.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest
right
one. Yeah, and you know, people speculate as well, like, you know, there's a reckoning coming because all the stuff that is coming out about how they handled the whole situation, right? Like, y'all using some type of lockdown protocol that was never a thing. And then, for example, how many smoking guns have there been already with Fauci's leaked emails, the FOIA requested emails, the shit that wasn't redacted, where he's telling motherfuckers straight up, masks don't work. Or he was saying like, oh, these Great Barrington Declaration doctors and scientists that are saying, hey, we should just isolate those, you know, specific ones. Not everybody, we can't lock down the economy. Like, who's allowed to just take off months of work? You know what I mean? Who's allowed to who's able to just miss buku paychecks and ain't nothing gonna happen? Like, you don't think that if you fucking pause the economy, ain't shit gonna break if you just, like, it's trying to hang in there, but these motherfuckers done came in with more spending, more printing, they giving shit to Ukraine, they laundering this, boom, boom, boom. I don't even know what I can say on this platform.
I don't even know how to phrase this anymore without sounding like one of the people who like the guy that I mentioned in that comment on YouTube. It's like, oh, there's so much self-victimization on this podcast. It's like, other than, like I said, the censorship and these kind of conversations being shut down, it's undeniable, in my opinion.
That's interesting. It's interesting that people, I guess, when they hear us, sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Basically, when they hear us saying things like, government overreach, or why y'all need so many goddamn IRS to hop up in people's Venmo accounts to see who got over $600 in their shit. You know, maybe that sounds like victimization to them. It's like, you big dummy. They're gonna audit you too, unless you're one of the fucking billionaires that has an army of tax lawyers on your fucking team.
Well, I also mentioned this on the last episode, is that you gotta it's an uphill battle for everybody. I mean, we're not the only ones. For the Blaze, for the Daily Wire, it's been a decade of uphill battles, right? The Daily Wire is a prime example of somebody who's been able to make it happen. Like, they're doing the culture jamming that Alex is doing to the, you know, highest degree right now because of just what they've built and their budget's so big, and they're doing films, and they're doing the culture jamming through their own production studio. I guess the way Tyler Perry's doing his own culture jamming by having his studio and all the movies he produces, right?
Is all that considered culture jamming, or just what Alex does?
I would say it's all culture jamming because, in my opinion, entertainment in general is culture jamming because politics, as they say, is downstream of culture, right? And if you're a Tyler Perry or Alex Primetime Stein or Chingo Bling or whoever,
I was definitely culture jamming when I first hit the scene. They didn't know how to process. They're just like, what the fuck?
For sure. And then it didn't help them not process it when you started, you know, they can't, like, going all in on the can't deport us all, right? Then it's like, okay, it's, again, like, politics is downstream of culture. Now you're infusing the politics in your message, in your imagery, in your everything. So the point of me saying that is that I'm going to bring this article up for you. There's 6 corporations that control 90% of the media outlets in America. The illusion of choice is objectivity. If you're going to deny this, I don't know how else to give our show or any show that doesn't necessarily agree with the narrative a chance. You know what I mean?
You gotta send me that. Jeez.
I have it up for viewers here if you're watching on YouTube. I mean, you got Comcast, Disney, and the in the rainbow colors. CBS, Viacom, which has everything on. I mean, BET, CMT, Paramount, the whole 9 yards. News Corp, and then AT&T. That 10%, you've got to be able to cram in there your Crowders and Daily Wire, your RPT, your everybody under the blaze. Who else, man? I mean, Bannon and One American News. I mean, it's only 10% of the pie. You can't tell me this shit's not skewed. You can't tell me there's not a motive here to just completely deplatform everybody that's going against this 90% of the media.
And that's why your message got to be so fire,
Right.
so that you're part of that little 10%.
Yeah.
You're like a minute part of the 10% because you're not on Viacom, Disney. Comcast ain't giving you no check. AT&T ain't letting you get jiggy. And CBS ain't gonna let you say what you want to say. So you're part of this minuscule sliver of the 10%. And your message has to be so fire so that it could be like, man, what's that? The word is escaping me. What's that type? And I'm gonna use the word warfare metaphorically, but like what's that type of warfare? Not guerrilla warfare, but like someone screaming it in their car. It's basically there's a word, bro. God damn.
But we'll go ahead and just use some context. Let's play the game.
Yeah. Basically, bro, it's kind of like it's not obtuse. It has something to do with that, and I don't know why. Too much weed. It's my birthday.
Not enough weed. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I don't know. But basically, bro, like your message has to cut through to go up against this leviathan of this media conglomerate. 90% of American media owned by 6 large, probably multinational, perhaps corporations.
In a lot of these, I mean, perfect example here. Under as I scroll down under Verizon, you got Huffington Post, you know, and you got Yahoo, TechCrunch, and Gadget. I mean, BuzzFeed over here, and then Vox. Aren't a lot of these examples of what yellow journalism was, or the term yellow journalism is, where there's no legitimacy or credibility for these? I mean, essentially, in today's terms, they're fake news. But they're the ones with the biggest reach, right? They're the ones with the most eyeballs for whatever reason. They just have the most budget, most power. Excuse me. But this is what you're combating. Like, look at all this shit. HBO and CNN, Warner Brothers, all under the AT&T umbrella. I mean, bro.
Mm-hmm. And then this is important because when people follow, watch, or consume Latino quote unquote media that's trying to target Latinos or Latin Americans or whatever, it's like if you pull away the veil, you're thinking you're following some page called like, oh, Flama, they make memes or whatever, right? And it's like either they're bought out or they're trying to get bought out.
Right.
And you might be thinking like, oh, they have influencers and they talk about cultura. And sometimes they talk about, politics. Or they'll just be like, yeah, there's funny memes. And sometimes there's content, recipes, right? And you're just thinking that you're just following this totally organic, transparent, just very like, orale, we're just trying to help, whatever. And then you pull back the veil and it's like, bitch, you're owned by NBC or Comcast or somebody. Watch, if you scroll up a little bit, up. Okay, right there. Look under Comcast. What is that? Telemundo?
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Yes,
Telemundo,
sir.
Yep. And,
Okay,
yep.
now they have a part. See how it says they're under the Telemundo logo is next to Universal. And if I'm not mistaken, is it Univision? I don't know who the fuck owns Univision, but basically, man, you have like there was some networks. I don't know if they're still around, but they used to have me on there all the time because they'd have like different kind of programming. So sometimes we'd be on the West Coast, and they'd invite you back when you were Lefty Larry,
Right?
And it was called like they had one that was like a merger. It was like, this is under Universal and the Telemundo umbrella, and it's called blah blah blah, and we're targeting English speaking Latinos.
Oh yeah. You yes.
It's all escaping me. I can't remember any fucking word.
Oh yeah, it's in the tip of my tongue too, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Like Fusion was one.
Probably, yeah. And there's so many.
Yeah.
Like Flama was one. Obviously, Me Too sold
Of course.
to some other thing. But you'd be hard pressed getting a different side of arguments or different opinion. Like if I don't really follow BuzzFeed or any of these people that closely.
Yeah.
But you'd be hard pressed to see, for example, I don't want to use Me Too because, we've worked with them, but let's just use this Flama people, right?
Okay.
I don't even think they're around. I think they shut down. But you really think Flama is going to be like, post something and give it a spin that's kind of like, actually, that was a good thing Trump did, or actually being pro-life isn't necessarily bad, and these are some reasons why. You know, you're not a fucking pariah.
Well, I mean, if you scroll down here, 232 media executives control the information diet of 277 million Americans.
Read that one more again.
232 media execs, which you've talked to a lot of media execs in your lifetime, control the information diet of 277 million Americans. That's media exec to 850,000 subscribers, an audience the size of San Francisco. So the total revenue, this is from a 2010 census. I mean, any way you cut it, even if that was 10 years ago, you know it's gotten bigger. And if anything, there's probably less execs in the kitchen and there's more control of the information.
And then once they all start having a bias, especially, I mean, for one, bro, the media has always been lefty. The media has always been Democrat, right? Unless you're, I guess, Fox News or somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe even CMT, but they've gone pretty fucking woke, I'm assuming, right? But here's what I'm trying to say. How convenient is it that the globalists and the Democrats and the groomers and, I mean, you can, am I allowed to say that word? They all happen to work at these places. So there's cartoon networks, there's music video companies that exist. And you really think they're going to do anything that's somewhat right-leaning?
Yeah, and it's weird that that's the case in today's world, because in the phrase I used earlier, like politics is downstream of culture. If you know that the big entertainment machine is what controls, I mean, you're controlling developing minds at that point, right? Whatever you want to be the future, you just have to put it in your content. You have to put it in your music, your films, you know, your marketing, all of that, your news, quote unquote, news outlets like BuzzFeed and whoever the fuck else, Huffington Post. It's no wonder that it's always been controlled by the left. Like, that is the machine, right? The machine is information, the machine's culture. So if politics is infused in there, it's going to be whatever politics we want.
And plus, and on top of that, bro, the right and people like that have been painted as these backwards, racist, Bible thumper. You know what I mean? There's just different branches of conservatives, different branches of the right. But the normie who just consumes all this stuff, they just, anytime they reference somebody from the right, they get a caricature of somebody from the right. So a lot of times when they're arguing with me on the Twitter comments or something, they're not even really arguing with me. They're arguing with the idea of this caricature, of this straw man argument they're about to make.
That's a very good point.
It's not like...
That is a very good point.
Because they can't read my mind,
Of course.
and they won't go... what is the word? Like topic by topic, policy by policy, like subject by subject. They won't be like, oh yeah, well, you better fucking bow down and thank Joe Biden for saving us money on the gas. And it's like, do you want to talk about that? Do you want to go like about the pipelines and energy independent? And do you want to discuss that? Or do you want to just do a blanket insult of that's just because you want to be white, bro?
So they're still arguing with the Chingo Bling from December 2020, not even taking anything into account from the last year and a half.
Well, they're just arguing with this caricature of this idea that was planted in their head by all those corporations, where like, you really think you're going to turn on Cartoon Network or one of those, just pick one, right? And they're going to make a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a right-wing Bible thumper look positive. No, they're going to be the butt of the joke. They're going to make fun of them. You know what I mean? Anybody who's like Republic, any of that shit. Yeah. It's more cool to be a victim and trans and fucking progressive. That's what gets promoted. It's like, you have to be open-minded and nice and vote Democrat. Otherwise, you're a bigot.
I mean, I said this at the beginning of starting the show back in 2020, is that like the pendulum is going to have to swing the other direction. I don't know how long it'll take. And I've said that, you know, I think month after month, quarter after quarter, and it finally does feel like the pendulum has begun to swing. Is it because we're in a midterm year? Is it because of all just letting us see the Biden administration unfold? Was step one. We've seen it unfold. Not the best. Approval says it. Right track, wrong track says it. Even his quote unquote allies have begun to say it. Or is it that people have taken their own notice and said, we kind of fucked up. This isn't the best person for the job. This administration sucks. Whatever it is, it had to happen.
But there's still half the country still Democrat. So they're obviously not that they're obviously not that awake and red-pilled and converted. they're basically saying, and I'm simplifying, right? But it's basically like, for those that don't approve of Biden, they'll still have a caveat saying, well, next time we'll have a different person, or he's still better than Trump, or at least he didn't insult Mexicans. You know what I mean? There's always a thing where it's like, what's better than what we had before? We just needed a sigh of relief, bro. That's what George Lopez said. I got the screenshot where he was basically celebrating when Biden won and crying and shit, talking about, finally, the people can have a sigh of relief from all the chaos, and we did it. Democracy, que la chingada. Here's your fucking democracy, bro. That's what you gave everybody. That's what you was promoting.
You have such a way with words, Chingo.
Not really. And everyone right now, all the lefties watching this on YouTube, they're probably all like, shut the fuck up. Oh yeah, well, that's why your people tried to storm the Capitol. At least the Democrats aren't doing an attempted coup, an insurrection.
Meanwhile, there's been literally like more legitimate attacks on federal buildings since then by people on the left, but they get no media coverage.
Yeah, they the leftists, they were the pro-choice people, I guess, were burning up the like the pro-life places. And speaking of insurrections and fake news and shit, it just came out. Check this out. All right, maybe I don't know how we're doing on time, but maybe we can end on this if need be.
Perfect.
But basically, man, one of the people that was on trial finally, J6, right? Finally got his day in court. Boy.
2 years later.
Wow. I mind you, I am reading motherfucking Gulag Archipelago.
Hey.
However you say it.
Perfect.
Archipelago. Anyway. So this person finally got his day in court. He had I believe she was black. I'm not 100%, but definitely Democrat, public defender in D.C. So this is his lawyer, a Biden supporter, right? Well, God bless this lady. I need to memorize her name because this is a true fucking American, bro. Like, there's hope for justice. She was defending the J6er, right? And she basically, I guess is it the United States government versus, I don't know how those trials.
I believe so.
That's probably how the trial works, right? But they had this Capitol Police guy who was also featured testifying, lying and crying during Liz Cheney's show trial, where they're like, and I helped protect Mike Pence from the guillotine, and they wanted to hang AOC and Kamala. I told her to hide. Anyway, that guy, one of those guys, one of the fucking Capitol Police people. So now this person, they bring him back out to speak at the trial against the J6er. Well, he basically started to purge himself and change his story because the lady was like, the public defender was like, well, let me show you some footage, officer. And you had said that my client hit your shield, yanked on you, pulled you, assaulted you, and look at the footage. We zooming in. We going frame by frame. Show me where. Well, maybe it wasn't my shield. Maybe he tugged on the strap to my thing. Okay, zoom in. We could go frame by frame. Show me where. And the angle was just not showing. Well, maybe. And then he went on a soliloquy saying, well, I was defending these politicians and I was defending the people and I'm here and my job. And he just totally went on deflect mode, just talking about some other shit, the oath, his pledge of allegiance he done took. And the moral of the story is, man, the truth always comes to the light.
Yeah.
And God bless that public defender for saying, well, they had the First Amendment right. Y'all can't call it. You're not finna sit up here and call it a coup, sir, because they have the First Amendment. This is America. We have the Constitution. People have the right to do what they did. They gathered, they protested, and they wanted to be heard by their government. And it's like, holy shit, bro.
That's crazy, man. As you're talking about that, and you've finished by saying, like, it's America, we have the Constitution. That document is pretty fucking interesting. You know, I know it gets glossed over a lot and just kind of like cherry picked from, and we'll hear bullet points on news segments from whoever, either side. But if you really just kind of like read it and then you kind of try to study it a little bit from time to time, it is amazing that it has stood as long as it has. And I know there's been amendments to it and things have changed here and there, but the basics of that document is what allowed the United States and essentially the world to be what it is. And some people will be like, well, that's terrible, but really it's not. It's because of that document that you want the United States to be the superpower. Some people might argue that, but if you have China as a superpower, if you had Russia that had the Soviet Union that would have been the superpower for the last 100 and whatever years, 200 years, we would be living in a completely different planet. It's just true. Yeah. This is what it is.
Yep. And right now I'm reading this other book. I think this one, because I'm picking up so many. I'll have some upstairs. I have some downstairs. When I get that little 10-minute break, I'll try to read a couple pages. And I think it was The Red Famine, where it talks about Ukraine and all the politics of Russia, Ukraine, and all that. And right now I'm on the part where they're talking about the Bolsheviks and Stalin and Lenin, and basically this like socialist uprising and how they just kind of bamboozled the people into believe some shit. And it gets real interesting. But all the people that you were saying who don't think, they've been brainwashed to believe that, well, why is America being a superpower a good thing? And, you know, there's some good things about Canada. And, you know, China's system has really, you know, they really pulled themselves up by the bootstraps. And if you study, you know, like communism just hasn't been done properly. All those people, obviously, bro, they've been assigned an opinion. They don't truly understand the atrocities of socialism and so on. So, you know, you're absolutely right saying that, like, the Constitution protects and defends all people in modern day America. Don't let them bamboozle you and say it's trash and, oh yeah, well, we the people for who, or freedom for who, or how dare you celebrate, you know, 4th of July, and what about 1619, you know, or, oh yeah, well, women couldn't vote when it was a bunch of white men and they owned slaves when they wrote it, and yada yada yada. It's like, bro,
sounding real fratastic right now, Chingo.
Very fratastic. Y'all getting real fratastic out there.
Well, hey, on Friday, we're going to get to y'all's questions and great debates, and hopefully there's some good lip tweets in there, and just have fun with it.
Okay. You talking to the people about that Friday?
Yeah.
For sure. And don't forget about that Monday, Big Don.
Yeah.
RPT Hangouts, Big Don.
For sure.
For sure. Appreciate you guys, man. I'm headed to Chicago. Y'all come through.
Lori Lightfoot, come on out.
She is special invited guest. Lori,
front row.
Come on now. I'll roast the shit out of her if she show up. But like, look here, Beetlejuice. If she try to heckle me, ain't nobody talking to you, Beetlejuice.
She's married, right? Where's your wife at?
Yeah, where your white wife at? Ooh,
damn.
Come on, lefties. Y'all, it's hard to play by y'all's rules, huh? Y'all want to paint all white people as racist, but Don Lemon got a white husband. All these people got married to white people. AOC got a white ginger boyfriend.
Dude,
Kamala got a white husband. Y'all, boy, people on the left, they love to say the white man is this and the white man that. All of them married to one.
I got it before we go. I know we're about to wrap, but did you see HTX Kids First post about Mayor Sylvester Turner?
Something about he had alleged monkeypox.
Yeah, that's the allegations going around apparently in Houston governing officials' offices. That's what little birdies are saying. Nothing's come out officially, but apparently he's missed a lot of work. He's got some personal health things going on.
It was some bumps.
That's
couldn't be explained.
Word on the street.
The Zoom camera couldn't work. They would keep the camera off when you zooming in for meetings.
That's the word on the street. So I guess we'll wait.
Word on them streets, man. We shall find out.
All right.
But hey, y'all take care. Head on the swivel. And America first. Yeah.